Hey there folks, and welcome back to the Dammâseq Campaign. Last time we took on our southern neighbor of Sa'aru, although that didn't go so well, due to some pretty bad luck with the way our siege and then their counter-siege were going. We actually had to abandon their siege to run back to try to save Dammâseq itself from being taken in a siege, but then they got a disease tick, so they weren't able to continue sieging before we could return to Sa'aru. Of course, the other person that was also attacking Sa'aru at the same time, Qarnayim, they were able to sort of sneak that siege out from under us and get it for themselves. Definitely inopportune, and that kind of screwed up our plans here with Sa'aru. But Sa'aru did give us a kind of unexpected second chance here, because they pieced us out, giving us the location of Jabba, which gave us a border with, at the time, the extent of Qarnayim's territory. Of course, now Qarnayim borders us over here as well. But we were able, with Jabba in our possession, to go ahead and get a claim going on Qarnayim back at that time. So now that claim is almost done. If we hadn't done that plan, we'd only now be able to start claiming Qarnayim, because now we do border them. So, we can go to war with Qarnayim in a couple of months, but do we actually want to, is the question. Now, manpower-wise, we're doing perfectly fine. We have plenty of manpower, and I think in a one-on-one versus Qarnayim, we might be able to win. But I don't like to take wars that I think I can only might win. The real issue here is the cohort size, and I did spend quite a bit of time between episodes trying to figure out exactly how this math works, because it's not very intuitive. And as far as I can tell, here's what's going on. With the military math in this game, there seems to be two different systems that overlap but aren't necessarily connected. There's the manpower system, which I feel like I understand fairly well. This is mostly based on freemen and tribesmen happiness and output, because they're your manpower producing population. And then you also obviously get more per month based on manpower recovery speeds, and your manpower maximum is modifying everything. But then there's also this cohort levy size mechanic, and as far as I can tell, in the tooltips, levy size is only linked with the levy size multiplier, which is a pretty difficult number to raise. Our best way to increase this, by the way, is to actually change one of our laws, but it's the law that requires the Law 1 Civ Tech, which obviously we can't just get whenever we want. This is going to require one of our Civ Tech points, and we don't have any. We're going to need to wait at least for probably about 20 years for all of our technologies to go up a rank to then unlock Law Progress 1. So that's obviously not a very short-term solution to this problem, but we do know it will be addressed later on. Whatever the case, though, that's only going to give us 2.5% more levy size multiplier anyways, so this doesn't really fix all of our problems either way. Now, that being said, though, I did try to figure out exactly how cohort size is calculated, and at this point, from what I can tell, and this isn't very well communicated in here, I guess we can read through what this says here. I looked on the wiki as well to give me more information. But what it says here, and let's see if this gives us some more insight. Levies are raised from governorships and are composed of subunits appropriate to the culture of the pops within them. Yada yada yada. Raised from integrated culture. Yeah, so this is obvious. You raise your native population or integrated. Levied pops do not produce flat resources while they're raised. Yeah, so as far as I can tell, nothing that's happened in the last 4 years in the game should have led to 2 full cohorts no longer being raisable. My population has changed a little bit. I have had, I think, a couple of population units enslaved by people who've occupied my unfortified tiles. But that being said, that shouldn't have made that big of a difference. The way that levy size, and it doesn't say it here, and that's why I looked on the wiki to get more information, but levy size doesn't take into account integrated slave population. So slave population, even when they're of your native culture, don't count for the levy size multiplier. So my only explanation for why we went down 2 cohorts, because I do know from the math, because I saw a calculation on the wiki, again, this math is kind of complicated. As far as I can tell, this math always rounds down, so my only explanation for losing a full 2 units from our cohort size is that we happen to have just the exact break-even number of population of Dammâseq population that were enslaved, and even though those slaves live in our nation still, they're not contributing to our cohort size, so I think we're at or very below the sort of invisible, unseen threshold to go from 4 cohorts to 5 cohorts. And that's an important threshold, because Qarnayim should have 4 cohorts right now. Now, we do know that given our current population of 50 Dammâseq, of which some number are slaves, that means that presumably Qarnayim isn't as close as we are to that threshold to have a 5th cohort. However, we actually don't know what their slave percentage is of those integrated pops, because something I hadn't really thought about until I looked at the math more closely on the wiki is looking at that number isn't as precise, and it already wasn't super precise, but we don't actually know what number of any nation's integrated culture are enslaved, and those slaves aren't contributing to the levy size. In fact, and I'm not as sure about this part, but it seems from reading the wiki and looking at the formula, it actually might be better to move slaves out of our region so that they're not reducing the overall scale of the number that the levy size multiplier is multiplying. I don't know exactly how this math works yet, so I'm not going to obviously do this right now, and I don't have any other regions to move them to, but there might be some way in which you can manipulate this math by moving integrated slaves out of the region so that the region isn't counting them against your non-enslaved integrated population. Whatever the case, as far as I can tell, the only solution we have in the for now, in the short term or the long term for the cohort problem, is just waiting. We need to wait for assimilation to bring more population into our culture. That's going to obviously do a lot to help with the problem. Things are moving along at a relatively brisk pace, but not within the year brisk. We're talking about a 5-year, 10-year period here. Additionally, for our locations here, where is it showing this? Promotion. So if we see any citizen or any slaves promoting up into tribesmen or something else, I guess this guy's going straight to citizen. That's also going to help. That being said, though, because I can't see the exact math deeper in the code or in the engine of the game, to understand how close I am to that kind of invisible threshold, that theoretical threshold between 4 and 5 cohorts, I think the safe thing to do is to wait. That being said, though, I have had a lot of momentum, and I do have a lot of manpower stored up. But one thing I can do is I can actually use my manpower for other purposes, especially in this mod. There are now other things to do, such as colonization, which does require manpower to do. So there might be some reasons we'd want to do some colonization. The main one mostly being that in order to progress through Control Damascus Oasis, which does, by the way, allow us to do a crazy big assimilation burst when we get this done, we do need to control all of these tiles that are in green, which includes a lot of uncolonized tiles. So I think what we're going to do, we've had a pretty successful opening couple of years here, but at this point, because I don't know if I can safely do this war without mercenaries, and that's a lot of money for mercs. If I hired mercs, I'd probably want to do at least 2 or 3 wars to get the most value out of them, and even then, that is still, again, a lot of money. Again, we could sell stuff and sell people to get more money back after these wars, but really, what I'd probably want to do is wait for Salkad to finish their war against Kanatha, and then that way I could safely fight Qarnayim, and then I'd fight Salkad and get all this stuff. Now, something else to note is that's most of the rest of our region, and let's remind ourselves what our decision is going to require here. So, this is all taken care of by Qarnayim. This is going to require, presumably, the war against the victor, Salkad. And then there's also some territory over here controlled by Sama and Kaman over in this other region, in the Jordan Rift Valley region. So, we do have to eventually come down here, but I guess that's going to have to wait until after we take on Qarnayim and then Salkad. So I guess I could get the mercs and go for Qarnayim, but then again, this is going to push back the timeline, and I'll have to probably continue warring even during my next 5-year period. So I guess the question is, do I want to push ahead and use up my manpower for these wars and get more territory, not very productive territory, but it would be more territory, and continue pushing for this decision? Or do I play the longer game here, start my 5-year period of relaxation early, get Ashara going, get the assimilation speed up? Ultimately, that route may mean that by the time we hit 795 and go back to a knot, most likely, we might actually have 5 cohorts or more because the assimilation will be done. Let's just actually base that decision on the actual facts here. So we're going to get some round of assimilation around 795, so that might be in time for that calculation to be in effect, but it's a close call. I don't know if this is going to be enough to get us that 5th cohort unit. It's kind of hard to say. I guess we're going to also have promotion going on in the background and migration and whatnot. There's a lot of stuff going on in the background. I feel pretty confident that by 95 we'll have a 5th cohort at least. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to play the long game here. It would be kind of exciting, but expensive to use the mercs to just rampage our way down here. There's not really any rush, and honestly, in the next 5-year period, the situation here might change for the better, but we'll see what happens. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to play it safe, play the long game here. I really want to make sure that we're not taking hasty actions and being on the the verge of bankruptcy at all times, so better to play it safe. We can also make Rauda a city, continue to boost up its effect on its freemen and tribesmen and whatnot. Something else that might have happened that would have affected my levy situation is moving population to Rauda, but this is both, all of this is within the Herman region, and I'm drawing from the Herman region in total, so that shouldn't have had an effect, but I guess it could have in some unexpected way. Does my capital have some effect on... Can I see the capital effect here? I don't know if capital actually has an effect. I guess it has a happiness effect? Or no, that's output. Is that output? Hold on. So value 449. Yeah, maybe being outside the capital reduced their output too much. Whatever the case. So I think we're gonna just play it safe. So I know not the most exciting maneuver, but we gotta be smart here. So with that in mind, is it worth actually making gains? I think we keep waiting until Ephysia is a city, at least. So yeah, let's just keep waiting. We'll have the claim on Qarnayim ready to go. Also this way, for sure, we can take advantage of this farming settlement being finished. We can destroy that, or keep it, I guess. It's a farming settlement in the woods, so that's kind of interesting. Yeah, so we're going to keep waiting. So to make this a city, we are going to need 200 gold and 50 PI. So we're going to have to just save up for that at this point. I think this is the smart move. I know it would be more exciting to go straight for Qarnayim once our claim is done, but I think I'd have to get the Burks with only the same number as them. I don't want to pick up an ally. That just is going to cause more trouble. And we'll, to stay below our manpower max, we'll use manpower for colonization if we get to that point. Harvest failure. Our settlements across the province of Damascus Oasis are reporting that their crop yield will fall well below the normal amount this year, and already people throughout the area are stockpiling food and preparing for the worst. Local officials are requesting assistance to ensure there are ample supplies for the coming months, but procuring meals for so many mouths will not be cheap. Alright, so could spend about 8 gold. This is about 2 months or so of income, so this isn't that big of a deal. Damascus Oasis has permanent 100% loyalty, so this wouldn't actually be an issue. Okay, this is interesting. We can move people out of our capital province into Fissure Spring, but I don't really know if I want to do that. That seems like kind of a bad idea. Freemen and citizens will be prioritized, which is not what those are not the populations I want to move out. So let's go ahead and just ask for a blessing from ... This is just supposed to list a god, but it's glitched, so it doesn't say that. Yeah, Damascus Oasis always has 100 loyalties. This has it's basically free to do it like that. So that's perfectly fine. Alright, so we'll see what happens down here, but I think we're just going to keep waiting. Also, by the way, I don't know if this is a change from the base game or from Terra Indomita. I think that fortresses in Terra Indomita had a manpower reduction. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but things... But did these guys peace out? No, they just retook it. Okay, I don't know what's happening down here, but maybe Salkad is not going to win their war quite so easily. That would catch me off guard, but I guess it's possible. Also, let's decrease the pay and decrease our fort maintenance. Should have done that a few months ago, but I caught it now, so we're fine. This will improve happiness. You have to remember, by the way, that if the cohort size... It may be smart to increase army maintenance after the cohort's raised, if reducing the army maintenance to get more... happiness is what's causing us to go up into 5 cohorts, so we have to keep waiting. And I don't think the marshal is affecting this number. I really don't think so. In other Paradox games, the marshal stat, or the equivalent, sometimes affects your levy size, but I don't think it does in this game. It doesn't affect it on the national level, but I don't know. There's a lot of math that happens underneath what the tooltip says, so it can be a little confusing. Whatever the case, we have a few more months, then we're going to be able to reselect our Omen. I think we're definitely going to just go ahead and start our peacetime, switch over to Ashara, get our assimilation going as fast as we can. Around speed 3. The UI for the time selection is so hard to see. I'm a little... I have partial color blindness, so I can sometimes barely tell. Gutium shattered. After putting Akkad to the torch a few generations ago, the Gutians have been toppled by the resurgent Sumerian and Akkadian city-states, and the city's rulers now vie for the opportunity to recreate the splendor of Sargon and Naram Sin. Perhaps this means the power of Sumer and Akkad will once more extend to Emeru, Elam, and beyond? Interesting. Okay, so what's going on over here? We didn't get any lore about this earlier, but essentially there was a large nation over here called Gutium, which was in charge of Akkad and the surrounding area. We're about 100 years after the height of the Akkadian Empire, or the Akkadian Empire, and Akkad was ruling over all of the Sumerian city-states that are in the Tigris-Euphrates area. At the start of the game, in this mod, all of these nations, well, they're not city-states technically, but they're conceptually city-states. They are, nations, not just mechanically city-states, but you know what I'm trying to say. At the start of the game, all these nations are in a war against Gutium. Gutium basically is the successor kingdom that took over the Akkad area. The Gutians are sort of hill people that came in. And essentially what's just happened is that these guys just won their war, which they almost always do, because it's like 20 against 1, even though Gutium's powerful. But Gutium's been shattered. So all of Gutium's been split up between the new Akkadian city-states and the migrating Gutian tribes. So this doesn't affect us too directly, but it may affect our trade partner, Assur. We shall see what happens with that. Ah, man, the Rome 1 music just always warms my soul. I love to hear it in the background. I'm really enjoying the Music Player Plus mod. This has made the game a lot better, with only such a small change by adding this new music. Let me know in the comments what your favorite music tracks you've heard so far from that mod are. Alright, whatever the case, we can select our Omen now, and I do think going from this discipline bonus to Ishara is smart here. Yep, I think we go for that. So let's go ahead and call on Ishara. So let's take a look and see now what the math is going to check out to be. So over here, actually I don't know if we have any pop assimilation going on here. We do actually, we have a slave assimilating. So let's go over to Rauda, where there's more assimilation happening. So 1.14%, this is probably our most high assimilation number location because it's a colony, and colonies have a big assimilation effect. I think it's 10%. So 1.14. Now it is 1.27. So this is now before 795 quite handily, so that's good. This is a tribesman. Tribesmen produce manpower as well, so that's quite good. And we're growing a tribesman too. Yeah, since we're on the 5-year tick, let's actually go ahead and take a look at our nation and kind of see what's going on in terms of where people are moving around to. So in Damascus Oasis, as you would expect, everyone's moving into Dammâseq directly. Let's look at it like this. So we have a freeman moving over, but that's not going to be for a while. This doesn't say when this is expected to happen, which is irritating. Maybe I can see it over on this side. Here we go, it says it over here, so we can't, I won't be able to find them from this list very easily. I guess we could technically, but yeah, so we're looking to see sometime in, let's see here, this one I can't reach in the UI, but most of them are going to happen in 818, 808. There's one that I spotted that's a little sooner, I think. Hold on. Let me scroll this, please. Yeah, 796 for this guy, this tribesman. It's not going to have a big effect, though. Whatever the case. Let's see. I want to get up to 200 manpower cap from this so we can get a second manpower unit from that. That would be quite handy. The way this all scales and where the cutoffs are is really mysterious. I just don't know, honestly. After like 500 hours of playing this game's internal math still confuses me a lot of the time. Alright, whatever the case. Yeah, I think things are looking pretty good. Over here, cultural assimilation. Down here, cultural assimilation. Let's check and make sure that every settlement has someone to assimilate. Now, over here we have some Dammâseqs who live in these spots here, because this was our starting territory, so they're not being assimilated. So it would probably be sensible to actually move some non-Dammâseq slaves into these locations so that they are enjoying the assimilation, because any tile that's in a cultural assimilation province that doesn't have people to assimilate is being wasted, so we should spend the money to move some people around. So I think what we should do is, let's move the slaves that are in these two tiles both into Dammâseq, I think. They both border, so they can just move directly in. These slaves here are going to be more productive, so that's probably a good move to make. They might migrate anyways, but let's just move them ourselves. We'll have to spend some money on this. So Ain al-Fijeh will get moved over. The two slaves. Hold on, did I just move it? No, hold on, no. That's right. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Okay, we're fine. And then also from Kud, so yeah, we'll move them as well. And then into these locations from within the province, we'll move slaves from somewhere else. We can move, let's move 2 over from other places here. Alright. Actually, these guys we want to keep because they're assimilating. This slave here will assimilate. Yeah, it's happening slowly. Every 5 years we should check on stuff like this to be thorough. Alright, let's move from Rauda. Actually, Rauda has a lot of assimilation, so we shouldn't move too much from Rauda, because Rauda is a good place to put people that can be assimilated. Let's move them from Hame. At least 1. We don't need to move more than 1. Just at least 1. And move a guy from Darkanon. Alright. So now both these places on the next monthly tick should start assimilating those non-Dammâseq slaves. Slave assimilation isn't a big deal because slaves don't provide manpower or levy size, but they do provide tax, and it is better for the assimilation policy to be put to use like that. So that's the sort of micromanagement I'm going to plan to do throughout this campaign. Over here we have sufficient people. I'm going to move 1 person into Urna just for future-proofing, because this needs to be more than 1 population. And this way, in 94, when this guy assimilates, there's someone else for the province to work on. So, let's see here. We'll move the remaining slave in Rauda. Okay, that's fine. Okay, that looks good to me. Yeah, and down here as well. These guys are all Armenians. These guys, yeah, there's plenty of people to work through down here. It's fine by me. Okay, I think we're good to unpause here. Yeah, I guess one more thing to look at really quick is my family. So my daughter, Arishat, is 6, and my son, Ger Milky, is 4. That's good. No other problems at the moment. Still doing scheme influence. Alright. Resume here. So we're going to plan for this 5-year period to be peacetime, so we'll probably strap up again in 94 and get ready for the Qarnayim War. We'll see what's going on. Qarnayim and their neighbors things may have moved around, but the plan is to go for whoever controls Sa'aru and keep working our way down into the region. So also, let's check and see that these places... There we go. Now they're both assimilating. Good. At 1.49% as well is quite strong. Why is it so high, actually? Hold on. It's higher than here, even? This is an oddly large amount of assimilation. Oh, you know what? Slaves assimilate faster, that's why. Okay. Yeah, that's right. Slaves have a faster base assimilation. See, each population type having its own different assimilation base number is such like a nuanced little piece of information that it completely changes how fast this happens. Alright. Time continues along. Still at 4. It's not going to work for me. We're not going to war until we have at least 5 cohorts. That is a sure thing. These guys are still at 42, so that should be fine. In the meantime, just continue to boost back up our stability. AE is going down. No war exhaustion. Tyranny is not a problem. Once we have 250, we'll get the city going. Twisting the Knife. Ipter Dagan, the first Abrid, for reasons known only to himself, has begun to view Ahum Mashid with jealousy and distrust. This is a family head researcher, so I'm not liking the look of whatever this is leading to. Even having them in the same room as one another is bound to result in hostility. Please don't be a rival. No, this is a family head, you moron. What are you doing? This is a very important character. Don't rival him. Oh my god. You have to micromanage your own characters to. Alright, so we need to address that. That's not gonna work. Rival rulers -10. That's 41 loyalty. That's dangerous territory for a family head. This guy's got 37 power base, you dingus. Look at the power base before you rival this guy. What's he done to you? Come on, man. Alright, well, I do not want to be this guy's rival. I'd have to pay 30 PI to remove rivalry. Technically speaking, it's fine right now, because he's not into disloyalty. I guess if he loses more loyalty, we could remove rivalry, but come on, man. First you pick up arrogant. I guess you had arrogant before, but first you have arrogant, and then you're rivaling family heads. Go rival some guy, right? Just like I always say, just some guy. Go pick some character in the government or just in the court who's not a family head or a family member. Go rival that guy. Why you gotta rival an important character in the nation? Also, looks like who's hired these guys? Alla Locke, who is. Where is Alla Locke? Am I blind? Where is this? Oh, okay. Distant nation, but I guess fair enough. So these mercs are going to be absent for a while. They're going to go up and be involved in this war up here. Okay, so that definitely means we can't go to war in this 5-year period. Not that I thought we would, but... Alright. Imperator. Imperator, aberrant, can be counted upon as a man with the ability to always make a fair judgment. When arbitration is required, Imperator is always the first port of call. Oh, no, okay, hold on. We gain just. What does this give us? One more finesse, that's nice. Civ change as governor and stab change as ruler. Wow, okay, you know what, Imperator, I take it back. You're not so bad after all. Although now we're gonna have to deal with this. What's the problem? What is the problem, actually? Oh, you know what? The rival ruler just started to count. It wasn't counting that before. Oh my god. Why? I'm trying to build cities, my dude. Don't rival family heads. What are you doing? Oh, this is so painful. Technically speaking, we're below power base. We need the 24%. This guy by himself is 22%. But that is technically below power base threshold. We could get away with him being disloyal. I don't like it, but technically speaking, we're fine to run this. We're on the threshold here, my dude, but you've gotta keep it together. Do not rival family heads, you dingus. Alright, so we can unrival him for 30 PI in an emergency situation, but I do not want to resort to that if possible. Oh well. It looks like the Salkad war against Kanath is continuing. They started to resiege stuff, so that should hopefully be over shortly. In the meantime, we just continue to wait, build up our resources. We're up to 3 gold per turn, or per month, I mean. So that's good. More chaos down here. Yeah, in this mod, I think I've mentioned this before, but in this mod, I think the AI is a bit more bloodthirsty, and they go to war pretty frequently. Alright. What am I looking for here? 50. Boost that up. Technically speaking, Borderlands may not directly affect our levy size, because it's just a manpower bonus. But manpower is also good. I'm not upset to get manpower. We're also just about at manpower max, which means I think we should go ahead and spend some manpower on colonization. We should probably colonize R2s so that we're connecting the 2 sides of our nation around the mountain down here. Yeah, I don't want to hit manpower max. We're about to hit it. What I don't like is this costs PI, so we have to keep waiting for PI again. But this does cost manpower, so this is a good thing to do during peacetime, because you need to use your manpower for something. So let's go ahead and colonize R2s. This is going to help us progress towards fully controlling our home province, and it unites our 2 sides. So 20 PI, 750 manpower. We do get a free freeman in R2s, and this is one more freeman in our core. That's presumably of our culture, so that's quite nice. These guys are also... You know, actually, this isn't bad at all, because this is 4 more Dammâseq freemen and 1 Dammâseq tribesman. So I'm actually... Look here. Is there any more than that? No. So this is actually... This might actually give us our 5th cohort. I didn't even think about this, but we can get a lot of manpower from these guys. Because this is going to give us 5 more population, because it's... No, actually, it's going to give us 6 more population, including the one we get from this. Yeah, look at that. We're going to wait for the monthly tick to see how that changes, but that should be a substantial improvement to our manpower max and whatnot, even though we had to spend manpower to get that. And we get this unification of our 2 sides south of the mountain for ease of mobility and whatnot. So that's pretty good. If we could get one of those PI events, that would be quite nice, actually, at this time. Still out of 4, even though we're at 56 Dammâseq now. Sheesh. Alright. This cohort levy math is brutal. I've just got to keep waiting. Not going to war when I have the same number as these guys down here. Okay, so once we have... I know I'm trying to save PI, but once we have 750, I should do some more colonization to get more guys from here. I didn't even think about this, but yeah, technically this is the rest of my native cultures living in this area that's uncolonized, and these units will... These populations will be much more helpful for me if they're in my nation. So we just keep waiting. Fortunately, the amount of disloyalty is not based on... or the amount of power base from the disloyalty doesn't take into consideration the actual amount of disloyalty. Alright, so we have enough... Actually, no, we don't have enough manpower. We actually can go in the negative manpower, so something interesting here... Actually, no, we cannot, never mind. I was getting that backwards. We can go into negative PI, so if we had 750 manpower but under 20 PI, we could still do this action and go into negative PI, but you can't go into negative manpower, so I was sort of opposite about that. Whatever the case. The next thing we're going to colonize is probably Adleia, both to get more of a border with Qarnayim, and because this is a plains tile with 5 people. So, actually, wait, these are Sa'aru, so we're not going to go there. Let's see. Is marsh better than desert hills? Ooh, I could get... Ooh, you know what? Reeds. This gives me a copy of Reeds, and that's 10% freeman happiness locally. So, yeah. Adra or Nashabia are priorities here, once I have 750 manpower. That is going to have to be what we go for. Okay. In the meantime... How is the assimilation going over here? Progressing along at a brisk pace. Good to see. If I was really trying to zoom through assimilation, I could also move slaves into... Well, I guess we're not doing assimilation down here, so actually never mind. I've already addressed what I need to address. Everywhere is assimilating. Good. I'll keep checking on that every so often. Oh, we're at 5. Yes! Okay, hold on. Okay, so it's not even the number. Literally what changed it. Do you see what I'm saying here, folks? This is why I wish that the tooltip was more, gave you more information. I literally don't know what changed to give me a 5th cohort. Because as we just saw a moment ago, we were at 56, and now with the 5th cohort, we're still at 56. So I don't know. There's some math deep in this game's, you know, Lovecraftian engine of a game system that explains how we have a 5th cohort. But whatever the case, we're back up at 5. That's good. Presumably we're not going to go below that now. You know what? I think it's happiness. I think it's stability. Because now we just went above 50. So it's got to be that. Maybe there's some rule that if you're at negative stability, you lose 1 cohort or you lose some levy size. I don't know what the rule would be. But we're back up to 5. That being said, though, I will continue to take it easy. We don't need to go to war with Qarnayim right this second. They are also fighting Kanath. So actually they're the ones who are sieging this right now. Yeah, actually, it looks like Salcott actually bowed out, so we should wait until this war's done. It's more territory for us to get from Qarnayim, to be honest. And our simulation is still ongoing. With 5 units, we could probably get away without that Discipline God, but I don't really want to play around. Qarnayim doesn't have any allies either, so I think we can keep waiting. May as well. Also, we should get some more. It's not as big of a need now, but 10% freeman happiness. I should have maybe prioritized this over R2s. I didn't even think about that, but yeah, we should go for this now. So let's go ahead and grab which of these is the best. We could also get stone, but no, reeds is a priority for freeman happiness. Let's grab Adra over here for the reeds, and for also these people here. These tribesmen will contribute a bit as well. So, yep, this is painful, but we got to do it. This is a priority. I guess we could wait because we are pretty far below our manpower max, but I may as well use my manpower, get more guys. There we go. We'll see what this does for the manpower max. If I get up to 1500 manpower max, I'll be pretty happy. We shall see. Alright. 1545! Yo, look at that! I just love watching these numbers climb up. Yeah, that's pretty strong. Getting a free freeman with colonization is crazy powerful and helps offset how painful the cost of colonization is in this mod. So one thing actually, I guess as well, colonization progress. So I think while for basically 1 year we can't colonize a place directly next to a place we just colonized, so that's something for us to keep in mind as well, for what that's worth. Alright, so now we just keep waiting. Here. Plenty of food. Let's put this up. We're just waiting around. Oh, yes. Yep, okay, we've seen this event before with a different character. May have been the same character, I don't remember, but yeah, 21 PI. If we got this, well, we actually can't build the city anyway, so 21 PI just speeds us up a lot. 5 loyalty on just some guy. 10 corruption is not worth it though, so 21 PI it is. Alright, perfect. That's going to speed us up towards the city building, which is great. We got up to 6 cohorts. I'd very, very eagerly take on anybody, but 5 should be enough for our purposes. Oh, there we go. Qarnayim finished their war. Good stuff. But we are not going to be reacting quite yet. We don't have any manpower right now anyway, so we probably should just keep waiting. If Qarnayim wants to finish off Salkad, that speeds things up for us, honestly. They're not focusing on doing assimilation, so they're not going to be getting more units from their activities. And because there's no region splitting in this campaign, they're not going to be able to sneak new cohorts into their armies through region splitting. Peculating official. It has come to our attention that our trusted advisor, Milkutin Abrid, has been siphoning funds from our treasury into his own pockets for some time. The disappearance of monies collected from across Dammâseq eventually aroused suspicion, which combined with eyebrow-raising extravagances such as extremely flattering statues of Milkutin being erected could not be written off as mere coincidence. Did I name my son Milkutin? No, it's Gary Milky. That's right. Abuses of this kind surely must not be tolerated, lest the entire state apparatus become a charade for personally enriching vain aristocrats. The specific punishment is up for debate. So we could fire this guy, but he's a family character, so I don't really want to fire him. He's also pretty good at his job, so I don't really want to fire him. Or do this. Ooh, okay, 5 corruption. That's painful, but we can work around that. That guy loses a bunch of money, loyalty. His loyalty is fine, though. He gets a bunch of corruption, that's understandable. But we also get 23 gold. This is going to put us into city building range. I guess if we did fire him, could we just rehire him right away? This option doesn't give us any corruption, but we still get the money. I think we do this, and then we just rehire him in Master of the Guard, assuming we're allowed to. I don't think this prevents that. He's going to lose a lot of loyalty, but we'll rehire him immediately. Alright. Back he come. He's at 60 loyalty again. 0 effect. So this may have been the most corrupt action that I've taken, if you really think about what I just did. I publicly said, I'm not going to allow this corruption in my nation, even though this guy's connected, he's out. And then I quietly rehired him immediately. Just like a real government. Love that. Alright, well, that is pretty good. Alright, 2 years in to this Omentic. 5, good stuff. 1665 now, that's pretty good. I think we may have gotten a couple of assimilations off, let me see. Yep, 61 Dammâseq, so we definitely got some assimilations off. I guess this also could have been from the colonizations, but yeah, things are progressing pretty well here. Just need to wait for the PI. We can finally get the city going in Rauda once this PI gets up to 50. Assuming no more PI related events pop up right now, which knowing my luck is probably what's going to happen. Okay, so these guys here, 42, they shouldn't really have any increased strength from all their activities. Who are they fighting? They're fighting Rakat. Okay. I guess that's fine. But Qarnayim is definitely our main frenemy, or really more like enemy in this campaign so far. They are the other nation like us ascending in this area. You can see already just how much more blobbing the AI tends to do in this mod, which I like. It makes the game more difficult, which is obviously something I'm open to. So, no problem for me. Alright. Of course it rounds down. All the math in this game always rounds down. We need it to round up. So, it is what it is. Alright, 1st of July, 792. Let's get the city going. Alright, so this is going to cost 200 gold and 50 PI. Very expensive, but a very important thing to get going here. This being a city will supercharge the output of the freemen and nobles and citizens as well, so let us go for it. It, of course, is a colony already, so that's going to help things out too. So let's found the city. It's going to take 2 years, but after 2 years, Rauda will be our city in the Fissure Spring area. So let's go for it. The fort won't be torn down because forts are also able to be in cities, so it's pretty good. And we resume. 1736 manpower max now. That's quite nice. Yeah, I think going to peacetime here was the smart call. We could have used the mercs at the time to probably move on Qarnayim. Qarnayim is getting all the territory for us, which is quite nice. Although we're going to miss out on selling more sets of nobles by having just one big enemy. This makes the process of expansion faster. It's going to take less time to just do one big war than multiple small wars back to back. So I think this actually is to our benefit, really. Ooh, they've allied with Salkad, so that's interesting. So that does change things a bit, because Salkad probably has 2 cohorts, maybe. Let's assume that for the AI they get to round up in the mysterious math, because this game hates me. So let's assume that they get 2 cohorts. These guys are still at 4 cohorts. So with that in mind, our 5 may not be enough against the Qarnayim Salkad team. This was a good move by Salkad, because Salkad's trapped down here. They really should be allying with me to fight Qarnayim, but nope, they chose unwisely. Now, if we do decide to get an ally, that could really bite us, though. Allies in this game are so unreliable. Could ally with someone like Yabruda that's really far away, that won't be involved in trying to get stuff from these guys. But they're not going to bring that much heat either, only 19. Somebody like Rabat Aman would probably be a better ally, because they're going to bring a big cohort force. Probably 4 for these guys. These guys would probably bring 3, and they do border them as well. I think Rabat Aman would be better, because they're not going to necessarily want to hold territory. If they can come through... Can they move through? I think they can. They can walk through the desert if they have to get around. I'll have to think about it. Either way, we're going to keep waiting until... I do probably want to grab the discipline bonus before this war. Well, You know, honestly, I may not need to wait because I don't think I need the discipline bonus if I have an ally helping me out. We could also ally with somebody not for their army, but for their strategic support. For example, Rakat would probably draw the Qarnayim forces over to Apec, and they'd be distracted down here. So let's think about this for a minute. When do I want to do this war? Because of this change in the alliances, I think I do need an ally for this fight, because I'll be outnumbered. And the mercs aren't available. Yeah, I think we gotta go for it. I'm concerned about Qarnayim starting to assimilate their population, because once that gets going, they could definitely catch back up to us. And with their ally, with 2 or 3 cohort, or 1 or 2 cohorts. Yeah, I think what we do is, let's see. Sama would be convenient because they would draw forces away to their capital. They're not going to have a huge army. I think it's probably better to ally, because we do have 2 slots right now because of our king, with his trait. I think we ally actually with Rakat and Sama, because both these guys will draw them away. Actually, Kaman might be better, but Kaman's fighting somebody else right now, so they're preoccupied. I want people whose small armies can still do stuff, so I think Rakat and Sama are our best bets here, to be honest. Actually, let me make sure truce-wise. These guys have a truce with Qarnayim until 95, but they should still be able to join in if I ally with them. These guys should be fine either way. Oh, you know what? Their capital's all the way over here in Sukkot, so their capitals are really far away, so these guys will be really preoccupied. I think what we probably do... the issue, though, is... I guess the thing is, all 3 of us, including our 2 goober allies we might get, would outnumber the enemy forces in one big fight. The problem is actually getting everyone to coordinate where their forces are. That being said, Qarnayim and Salkad won't coordinate their force concentration either. One thing this game does generally do fairly is the AI doesn't magically like team up when they're on a team together, and they do tend to move individually from each other a lot of the time. Were these guys a tribe or a monarchy? These guys are a chiefdom. Because the other thing too is that Salkad's army will be split across their clan chiefs. I think we should be okay if we if we have an ally or 2 just to distract Qarnayim. I think our best bet. So let's definitely for sure ally with Sama. Temporarily, so we have to wait at least a month before the war so we can call them in. And do we want to then ally with Rakat also? We could ally. Well, these guys are fighting Batir, so these guys will be distracted anyways. We could also ally with Kaman. Nah, I don't really want to get drawn into this war, potentially, so... We could just go in with just Sama. Let's also ally with Rakat, just to be safe. We have 2 slots. If for some reason Rakat can't join the war, we can just break their alliance and then worry about that later. These guys are both also outside of the region that I need to be concerned about. And incidentally, neither of them control territory. I do want to fight Kaman, or whoever wins the Kaman war, later on for this stuff later, so I think that's fine. Okay. And then we'll have to wait for these guys. War balance. Really? Alright, we'll worry about that in a moment. Let's wait a month. Let's raise the levy either way. I think we raise them at Java. Start paying them as well. And pay for our forts too. I have to wait. Statue of Imperator the First Abarid. The people of Dammâseq have raised a large statue of our esteemed ruler Imperator. Though the statue is lacking in certain important areas, it would not be taken well if we were to rip it down. If we leave the statue up, let us hope it does not get too well known, as it could be somewhat of an insult. Ooh. Yeah, 10 popularity is worth 10% local population happiness for... Is that the nation of Dammâseq? No, this is the location of Dammâseq, which is actually also still pretty good. Yeah, that is worthwhile. Yeah. So Sama would join. Rakat won't join because of their truce, so let's go ahead and dissolve our alliance with Rakat, because they're not going to be very helpful. We could ally with somebody else. Kaman might join, even though they're in a war currently. We actually don't necessarily need another ally for this fight, to be honest. We could, well, Batir is preoccupied, Jericho is preoccupied, and they're in a civil war as well. Kaman's preoccupied, Rahab is preoccupied, they're very preoccupied. Yeah. We might be fine with just one ally, to be honest. And let's think about this carefully. If we go for take Sa'aru, we're right next to Sa'aru right now, so we could post up immediately. Then we'd be defending in the plains. Their army by itself should be 1,000, and they probably couldn't win an attack. But with the tribal support, they could win with the numbers there. But then again, Sama might join us by then. It might be better to actually go for Qarnayim, because Qarnayim is closer to Sama's army, so Sama is likely to come join us here. Now, one important thing I should have looked at earlier. Okay, one marshal, we're totally fine. This guy's not going to be able to assume control of that siege. Neither would have this guy by chance. So I think what we do is we actually go to war and we target the Qarnayim location, call in Sama. I think we go for it. Okay. The Canaanite local power of Qarnayim and Salkahad rally together to defend. We'll have to just recover while we're sieging. Down we come. Not having mercs around to call upon in an emergency is a bit risky, but I think with Sama's support we should be fine. Takes down to speed 2. Speed 2, not speed 1. We might catch these guys here, but I'm not sure if that will happen. Probably not. Oh! Where do they... What? Where do they... 3 cohorts? Do they only have 3 cohorts? Oof, that's painful. Yeah, we're not going to be able to reach them. We have to go to Qarnayim because of zone of control anyways. Well, that is... I wish I could catch these guys, but I guess that's fine. Sama should hopefully send some forces up soon. Yep. Is this the Sama army? I'm seeing only 1 cohort here. I thought you had 3 cohorts. Maybe only 2 cohorts, actually. Well, that's not exactly what I was hoping to see, but I guess it's better than nothing. So, come on up, Archer. Come join the fun. Yeah, everyone has less cohorts than I was expecting. Maybe the AI is getting hit by these rounding down cohort math things just as well. It's annoying, but it is what it is. Getting control of the Qarnayim fort coverage will be really important as well. Alright. I'm hoping you're going to come north and join me. These guys can come and grab Beit Tema, which is annoying, but there's not too much I can do about this. I've just got to let them take that. Alright, good. These guys are coming north. With this 250, 1500 shouldn't be contestable by these guys. Oh, wow. These guys have 4 cohorts? Oh, you know what? I think migratory chiefdoms have higher levy multiplier. Ooh, I did not calculate that math correctly. That's a big problem. These guys have a much larger army than I was expecting because they're a tribe. Okay, so 4 cohorts, 3 cohorts. That's 7 cohorts total. I've got 6 cohorts total. Okay, this was actually not a good war to declare because I completely forgot. Tribes have a much bigger levy multiplier. That's why they have more forces than I was expecting. So even though Qarnayim has less forces than I thought they would, these guys have much more than I thought they would. That being said, let's see. Numbers-wise, we're dealing with, let's see, we're dealing with about 1250 in total, and then we have 1500 in total. So we do still have the numbers advantage, even if they may have the cohort advantage. Some of their forces are damaged. So this is definitely a bit dicey. And they do have a god tier Bommelkar with 9 martial. Yeah, this is a bit of a problem. And we don't have any mercs right around here, or the money to hire mercs. We could reach mercs that are in the vicinity. These guys are available. I can't even tell if they're available or not. We can't tell while we're... actually, we can tell if these guys are available, but we don't have any money. Yeah, this has gone from a war that I think I can for sure win to more of like an actual fair fight. Well, this is definitely going to be a bit more complicated, but I think we can still pull something out here. We may have to play this pretty carefully. Not that I ever do anything in this game not carefully, so should be fine. They could, if they unified together, start sieging down Dammâseq, but they're pretty far away from it at the moment. Well, not far away, but they're not right there at the moment. We have a head start, so as long as they're not sieging down important locations, we should be fine. These guys are almost back up to full garrison. Yeah. I think we should be okay. They're going to get that. That's fine. I can't do too much about that. We'll just have to worry about that later. Oh, you know what? Actually, yeah, no, I'm right. They're at 1,300, but we're at 1,500. We do still have the numbers advantage, manpower-wise. Yeah, this is irritating, but not too much I can do. I just have to let them go for it. If we can get this, that at least puts us back up in the war score. Now, we probably... I think we win the fight defending in the Oasis Fort. Now, knowing my luck, they're going to get a breach immediately, and then I have to run back up and deal with that. But I think we win the fight defending in the fort if we attack them up there. Assuming my ally follows me, which is never something I can assume safely. One thing I might have to do is... okay, defenders is a good roll. If I win at Qarnayim, I can retake Beit Tema and then maybe piece them out and get the Qarnayim stuff. Supply shortage, that's not so bad. Minor addendum. Ahiram Milkaramid has suggested a small addendum to an often referenced law pertaining to the rights of the common folk. It should only be a small effort to push this through the court. Yeah. Yep, this is good. We're going to go into negative trend stability, but that's actually... Actually, we're not going to be in negative trend stability. At 61? Really? That's quite good. Alright, maybe we win the 7% siege roll and we don't even need to worry about these possibilities. Because that would, really make my day, game, if that were to happen. That would be really nice of you if you did that for me, game. What do you say, game? Old buddy, old pal? Nope. Defender's Reserve is a good roll, though, so I think we're probably fine. Watch them get that breach. Just you watch. It's going to happen. Just you watch. Water shortage is not great, but not a breach, so we take that. I think we get this, and then we run over and grab Asiri Basam, because this is a lot of value. And then we run up, we re-grab Beit Tema, and then we go relieve. I think we can do all that in the time that we have here. Scholar of the Divine. Isabel Milkaramid has, by all accounts, remained a Scholar of the Divine woman for much of her life. Actually, we've seen this event before. Okay, this is a family character, but she's not a family head. So slap on the wrist it is. More PI for me. Thank you very much. 21%, let's see it. Nope, Defender's Desert is good, though. Watch them get the breach. I'm so pessimistic, but, I mean, you've seen these campaigns. You see what I'm dealing with here. Food shortage, that's fine. But now they might win the siege. So that's not great. Alright, 35%, let's see it. Come on. Okay. Now, 7% is a very low number, and there's no reason why they should win a 7% roll. But they could win a 7% roll, which is obviously a problem. If they do win this, what happens? They get a lot of war score, it kind of screws up my economy, but we don't lose the war automatically. No one's necessarily in prison. This isn't Crusader Kings. I think we should be okay, even if they do win that. But that's going to have to wait until the next episode. Sorry to leave you on a terrible cliffhanger here, but I think we're going to have to continue this next time. But thank you all so much for watching this episode of the Dammâseq Campaign, and I'll see you all next time.